What's up, everybody? Hope you are doing well. I'm so excited to be on the stream with you guys today, hanging out as we continue our coverage in the Bryan Kohberger case. A lot of things that I want to kind of go over, unpack, talk about. One of those things is a new report that's released saying that the communication between Bryan Kohberger and the victims will be revealed. And I think that that's interesting because it's just pointing to the fact that Bryan Kohberger likely had some communication with some of the victims. We'll get more into that in just a couple of minutes. There's also a special that came out from Bryan Ensign that I want to look at. I think that that's going to be a really important piece of information as well. And then there's certainly a lot of other information that needs to be covered in this case, including let me see, what else do I have? Oh, the 5 most damning pieces of evidence against Bryan Kohberger. So a lot for us to talk about, and really, really glad that we're going to be able to do it. But it is Thanksgiving week. And by the way, I'm not feeling very good. You could probably hear my voice is not working the way that it normally does. So you could pray for me to start to get to feeling better. But it is Thanksgiving week. And so I would love it if, just as we're getting started on the stream today, you can put in the comment section something that you are thankful for. Thanksgiving is so important. Thanksgiving is so important. It's a very important principle in Scripture. It's a very important principle to me, and so I just would love to know what you guys are thankful for today as we're getting started for the stream. And I want to let you know too that we're totally crowdfunded, which means we can't do what we do without your support or people like you coming alongside and believing in what we're doing financially. And so we extend a couple of opportunities for you to be able to do that. You can support through PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. You can also support through Super Sticker or Super Chat. Information's rolling down there on the bottom of the screen. And then we already have we have 2 super stickers that came in. Amy Heights, thank you so much for that. And Cat Joy, you are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Obviously, I wasn't able to stream this weekend, but I'm so glad to be here with you today. And we had such a great Faith Friday when we streamed on Friday. And I know many of you guys really enjoyed it. So here we are, hanging out again today. What's up, guys? Thankful for Jesus Christ, who's my rock, family, and friends, and you, Tyler. I'm so thankful for my salvation relationship with Jesus. So thankful for my daughter and my father. Happy Monday. Had to put the pain away for the night. Glad to see you all. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thankful for the ability to take a full breath. Had diaphragm issues and couldn't breathe right. Look at what the Lord has done. Cat Joy, thank you, thank you, thank you for that amazing super sticker. Rebecca Heck says, thankful for you and the Feller fam. I'm thankful for both of you guys. Thank you so much for your tremendous support today.
Justice in the deaths of the 4 roommates. Suspected killer Bryan Kohberger remains behind bars, with the trial against him delayed indefinitely. Kohberger maintains his innocence despite evidence of his DNA being found on the scene. Tonight, students at the university will be holding a vigil, remembering the victims and trying to help that campus heal. News Nation senior national correspondent Bryan Ensign joins us live tonight from Moscow, Idaho. Bryan, how are things there a year, again, amazing to think, a year out from this terrible tragedy?
Yeah, it's been a year, Connell. It all still feels very, very raw here. Most of the people who we've spoken to today on the University of Idaho campus say it doesn't feel anything like a year.
I think it still feels very, very raw for people on the internet like us that have been covering it. But it's interesting what he said at the beginning of the stream, where I think it's kind of an important thing to note. But he was like, Bryan Kohberger maintains his innocence despite the fact that his DNA was found at the crime scene. If we weren't one of these people who go and investigate all the little details of a case, and we just heard the facts of the case, we wouldn't even be having conversations about this case anymore. We'd be like, dude's guilty. This family needs justice. Let's move on. But because of the constant rhetoric for the past 12 months from folks that, for whatever reason, think it's their God-given calling to exonerate Bryan Kohberger, despite the fact that there's layers and layers and layers of evidence pointing towards his guilt, then it's just absolutely shocking to me. But if we weren't one of those people, we'd just hear the facts of this case. We'd be like, yeah, dude's guilty. like, come on, let's just move on to the next case. And yet we feel a responsibility to continue to talk about it because there's so much that have been piled on layer after layer after layer in this case from folks trying to refute the evidence. And so I think it feels fresh for that reason for folks online. He says it feels very fresh for the people in Moscow, Idaho. And anytime that I stop to think about what happened, like these 4 college students just kind of peacefully minding their own business and, in their respective uh, rooms that night, and this nasty, nasty guy sneaks in and obliterates them with a knife. Yeah, it still feels pretty fresh when you think about it from that perspective. So I understand totally what Bryan Ensign is saying.
Has passed. The main reason for that, they say, is because there's been this delay with the court process. There's been no trial. Bryan Kohberger, the suspect, remains in the jail here in Moscow, Idaho, which is hard for all the students here to process. It's also obviously very, very difficult for the victims' families.
It was a brutal attack investigators say lasted just minutes, but changed the lives of 4 families and an entire college town forever.
People always say, oh, you're doing, they ask you, how are you doing, and your natural reaction is just to say, good, good for what we, good. But the answer is not good at all. I mean, how can you be?
Christy and Steve Gonzalez's daughter, Kaylee, is one of the victims who police say was stabbed to death by criminology student Bryan Kohberger 1 year ago. The horror unfolding inside this off-campus house at the University of Idaho. Kaylee's roommates, Maddie, Ethan, and Xana, were also killed. 1 year has passed, and Kaylee's parents say they are frustrated with how slow the legal process has been. Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial, delaying a trial that was initially set for October.
I don't want to hear that. Like, I want to see this guy die. Like, I don't want him breathing any longer. They say, oh, he's living in hell already. No, he's not. Not the hell that I think of. The hell that I think of is agonizing, literally terrifying, agonizing torture day in and day out.
If he pled guilty and said, I'll plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence, have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that because I do know I studied the criminal system and the difference between life in prison, even if it's 20, 30 years, he's 23 hours locked up.
That's been a hard one, though. I mean,
He could write a book, he could do
lot.
things. Idaho doesn't have a law particular that protects against that.
Yeah, we have
come from all over the world.
Wow, they are definitely very passionate about that. And I respect their opinion. I respect their right to figure out what justice looks like for them, and that evolves and changes and shifts over time. And it's so clear to me that they think Bryan Kohberger's the person. I mean, without a doubt, they think Bryan Kohberger's the one who did it. I hate the fact that there are people out there who try to twist the words of the Gonsalves and try to make it sound like it's something different than what it actually is. They think Bryan Kohberger is responsible, and they think that he deserves the death penalty. That's what justice looks like for them. And I respect their opinion. I respect their ability to share that. And I think we should honor them in a way. So, hey, Desi412, thank you. My Vespa, Cat Joy, amazing. Thank you for that tremendous support. You guys are amazing.
Steve and Christy say they get some peace from all the support. Their living room is full of keychains from every continent and letters and paintings from strangers touched by the case. They still pay Kaylee's phone bill every month and continue to text her as a way of holding on. They look forward to getting her phone back from police, but her phone, computers, and even a Bluetooth speaker all remain in police evidence. The boxes of clothes and personal items they've gotten back have been emotional to go through.
We got a bunch of stuff home, and I went through like 2 things, and 2 boxes, and I literally couldn't go to work for like 3 days. I mean, I literally was like smelling everything and just like sitting on the floor, and my mom and his mom were like, we're going to go just get it up in Kaylee's room. Okay. So, I mean, I went to my room, and I'm like, everybody just leave me alone and get away from me. And they packed it up there and put it all away. And then I have not gone through any of it at all besides those 2 boxes. And And I don't want to go through any of it. I don't know why. It just is so hard to go through that stuff.
It's hard for the other victims' families, too. Ethan Chapin was a triplet. His siblings, Hunter and Maisie, are still in school at the University of Idaho.
It's different to process something when you're that age. Like, how are his siblings doing?
The siblings are amazing, to be honest with you. Under these circumstances, they are resilient. Jim and I have talked a number of times about what it feels like as parents to lose a child. I honestly cannot tell you what it must feel like, because I'm not one, to be a multiple and lose a piece of that. To lose a piece of that.
And Ethan's two siblings still go to school here at the University of Idaho. All of those families are just incredibly strong, Connell. There will be the candlelight vigil happening here. It starts in just a couple of hours on campus.
Whew. Golly. Just sad. Sad, sad, sad.
Great to speak with you again, Dr. Goodman. I hate that it's under these circumstances. Obviously, it's such a painful date, this painful point in time for the victims' families. There's still no conviction. What do you think is going to be the most important element of Bryan Kohberger's trial whenever it begins?
Certainly. Good afternoon, Nicole, and always a pleasure to join you, and kindly allow me to express my condolences to the families. Moving forward, you and I have had several conversations with the viewers, and moving forward, we really need to conduct this trial in a way that is with dignity and honor, respect, remembrance for the victims, for Ethan, Zaina, Maddie, and Kaylee. And if we just put all of the pieces together, Nicole, as we've done through this past calendar year, we have very compelling evidence, I believe, as a criminologist, starting first and foremost with the knife sheath right at the crime scene, with the suspect's DNA. We have a variety of phone pings of him in the area. We have his car, the white Elantra, on surveillance during the time frame of 4 a.m. On the night of the murders. We also will see at trial, Nicole, communication from this suspect on social media to one or more of our victims.
That's the clue piece right there that I wanted to share with you. Right here, listen to her.
Of the murders. We also will see at trial, Nicole, communication from this suspect on social media to one or more of our victims.
So there is communication between Bryan Kohberger and the potential and the victims, and that information will be released. She's saying at trial. What she just did was list lethal weapons against Bryan Kohberger in the way she said what she just said. Hey, Jennifer Swain, you said glad to be with my feller fam. Missed you all. Hey, I missed streaming. I really wanted to stream, but I wasn't able to. And here we are, back at it today. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer Swain on that train. Let's listen to what she says one more time.
Of the murders. We also will see at trial, Nicole, communication from this suspect on social media to one or more of our victims.
How many victims do you think he communicated with? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Put it in the comments section. 1, 2, 3, or 4. How many victims do you think he communicated with? Now, the prevailing theory is that Maddie was his target. That's pretty much what everybody is saying. For some reason, I still think Kaylee was the target, but I'm likely wrong considering I'm one of the only people who think that. So regardless of who his target was he communicating with multiple victims? Did he only communicate with Maddie? Did he only communicate with Kaylee? Let me know. Most of you guys are saying he communicated with 2. You think you communicate with Maddie and Kaylee, those of you that are thinking too. By the way, guys, it's time to start our super sticker train. This is just something we do once per show to try to encourage people to support us. And it's just a fun way to do it. And you don't have to give to be a part of this stream, but it does help us to continue to make content that we believe is important. And so we want to extend an invitation today for you to support us through super sticker or super chat. How many do you guys think we can do on the train line? Maybe 25 on our super sticker train today, starting now. I think we can do that. So you guys say Maddie and Kaylee, Xana and Maddie, Maddie and Kaylee. So it's interesting. Trying to figure out who he may have been communicating with.
He will also, it will be revealed, had photos on his phone. So I know many may say, well, is this more circumstantial? Is it substantive? But I think in connecting these dots, it's going to be a very powerful case for the prosecution. On the other hand, and in fairness to the defense, really all that has been brought forward, Nicole, as you know, and we remind the viewers, is that their case is all about this long drive to nowhere. But for me, that's like a Swiss cheese argument. There's many holes and little substance to that. We also know most recently the motion to dismiss was made. And in paraphrasing, Judge John Judge basically said, thanks, but no thanks. And he rejected that.
And Dr. Goodman, the house, let's talk about this, where it happened. It was set to be demolished. There was a lot of pushback. Now that demo has since been paused. Do you think the house where this happened could still at this point hold some potential clues?
I think so, Nicole. I really was not in agreement with the initial discussion about demolishing this home. You know, this is the crime scene. And with that being said, we certainly appreciate and value all that our local, state, and federal law enforcement officials have done and continue to do. But remember, in the field of criminal justice and in investigations and interviews and evidence, even a very minuscule item can be huge. And with that being said, you and I have discussed DNA and the numerics of DNA. It's important.
Yeah, certainly is important. Dr. Debbie Goodman, certainly appreciate your expertise as always. Thank you. Thank you.
I think she has great expertise.
Sitting inside.
Let me see. We got 3 on our super sticker train so far. Joanne, Byerly, Amy Heights, Kat Joy. You guys are absolutely amazing. Really appreciate that. Kat Joy, thank you. Really appreciate that tremendous support.
At a rental car right now in Moscow, Idaho, at the University of Idaho campus. We are here for the 1-year mark of the awful murders here at the University of Idaho. Kaylee Gonzalez, Maddie Mogan, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, all killed here 1 year ago. It's weird. It doesn't really feel like a year, at least for me covering it. I know it doesn't feel like a year for a lot of the people in the community that I've been talking to. You know, I think because of this sort of ongoing legal process, it's hard for people to move on without there being a trial yet. There's not even another court date status hearing set at this point, depending on when you're watching this video. So that's frustrating for the people in the community. It's frustrating for the families. There's a candlelight vigil happening here in town. We were just over at Mad Greek, where the restaurant where Xana and Maddie worked. They had a memorial outside there for them. So it's obviously just a somber day here in Idaho. I interviewed Kaylee Gonzalez's parents. It's probably been about a week and a half now, kind of about what this year mark meant for them, how they're doing it. The interview was more than an hour, and we've played a couple of clips so far on News Nation, but I wanted to, in this podcast episode, to play for you the full interview. Sometimes when you just see clips or shortened version, you don't get the feel of what someone's going through. And I think seeing the full hour plus interview, you really get a sense of, number one, how they're doing, this sort of hell that they're living, how ongoing it is, And also just like what amazing people they are. I was just talking to Lauren, my producer, who's sitting next to me, just about with these tragedies that I've covered recently. I've met some amazing families that are really inspiring in many ways. And the Gonzalez's, I feel that way about just the relationship that Christy and Steve have and the support that the family has and that they show each other in such a difficult time. Same with Ethan Chapin's parents. Ethan's mom, Stacy Chapin, is really just like an amazing person, and the relationship that she has with her husband, despite everything they've been through with this, I find very inspiring. And even back to Gabby Petito and the the relationship that her parents have and her step parents have, and they all are like one big family unit. It's inspiring to see the way people come together. So I hope that can come through by showing the full unedited interview. And I just think it gives people a sense of what it is really like for these families right now. So I will talk a little more after the interview, but take a look.
So I want to watch this full unedited interview. I haven't seen it yet. Some of you guys maybe have, but I haven't seen it yet. And I do think it's important. Cat Joy, thank you so much for that amazing super sticker. We're rocking and rolling, guys. We got 7 on our super sticker train. We're going after 25 as a goal. I think we can do it. I think we can get to 25 on our super sticker goal. So thank you.
Some days it's just absolutely so real you cannot even run and hide from it. And other days I could just put myself and, I could go about my day. And
All
then,
the girls are asking for this and that.
and I'm back to work, and my work people are amazing. And then I come home and I'm just like,
Yeah, that's why you don't like driving the vehicle, because it always.
I hate driving.
Brings it.
I hate because the
to
car to me is just dreadful. It's like a prison cell. Oh my!
You guys did a lot more with the vehicle too. You guys were the one who went and purchased it. So for me, it's just a memory of her.
Oh, her car.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so hard for me to look out, and it's out there every day. But it is so hard for me to look out there and see Kaylee's.
Yeah,
even though it was such a short time that she had it. And I say that I'm like, it's so weird, but it was so Kaylee's car already. She had a Subaru Legacy for years.
Yeah,
it was a newer one, and that to me, you would think would you see them around a lot. It's a pretty common car. That would get me, but it's not. It's that dang Range Rover, man. And yeah, I'll just look out I'll go out there on the back porch and I just sit there and I'm just like, because it just is such a, it was just such a happy moment. Days before, hours, literally, 96 hours before this happened. You would never think, when we're sitting there running around Spokane, looking at cars, that in 3 days, she bought that on the 10th. And not even 3 days, because obviously it was, the early morning hours of that Sunday. Mm-hmm. But 2 days later, she'd be gone. And Maddie. And 2 others. It's just,
gosh,
it is insane.
Heartbreaking.
I don't know if I'll ever snap out of it. I don't know if I keep doing what I'm doing. I don't know if I go get myself in therapy because I'm a total basket case. I don't know.
You're always going to be a basket case.
I will probably always be.
You started the equation.
And people always say, "Oh, you're doing." They ask you, "How are you doing?" And your natural reaction is just to say, "Good, good." Good for what we, good. But the answer is not good at all.
Well, how could you be doing good?
How can you be?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would be good if, that was my dog, I'd still, be okay if it was my, but this is my child and her best friend.
Yeah. It's not even like a broken marriage where they live separately and they're still they find other people get happy. You still recover from something like this. There is no.
Unfortunately, you're left with your own thoughts. And I think that with me is pretty pretty bad. Because those thoughts they just don't stop sometimes, you know, and you just go down the rabbit hole and you're just like, okay, if that is what happened, then this happened and then this, and then you're just like, oh my gosh, get out of there quick, shut the door, you know, like get out of that room. That room is, yeah, it's, yeah, bad.
So you won't go in that car. That's you don't. It
I
doesn't
will.
bring you- yeah.
I will. And
But
I mean,
if we
I
have a
should.
choice, it's always something
Oh
else.
yeah. And I mean, I have a tiny car. I have a little car, and you know, obviously that's roomier and stuff. But I'm like, oh no, you know, well, I'll take my dogs and we'll get in my car. And I mean, he, you know, takes up my whole car pretty much. And I'm like, oh well, it's okay. Just make some room.
Yeah.
Scoot, scoot. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just very heartbreaking. And I mean, looking at it, riding in it.
Hearing her talk, man, my heart aches for her. I'm sure it does for you too. My heart aches for her. Hearing her talk about the little things that you don't think about that you know, bring up the trauma in all of this. Cat Joy, thank you for gifting those memberships and for that super sticker. Really appreciate that. My gosh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I thought that I would drive it. I thought that we would probably switch. I'm like, well, probably, because we didn't get it back for a long time, and that car hit me hard
6-7 months.
when we got that car back.
Yeah, I remember the pictures of you. There
Yeah.
were some pictures of you when you went and got it.
And it was like, wouldn't, you know,
They pulled a chip out of it. It took them, it was a little bit more complicated to get it all working and running again.
it was definitely, yeah, getting that car back, because she had just put stuff in it. And I was talking to her as she was like packing it up, and she didn't, I mean, she unloaded some of it back at that house, but it mostly was all in there exactly. And it had just sit in like a time capsule for, you know, 6-7 months, you know, that this all happened. And like her purse was in the back
She backed up
seat.
to that door right there and just put a bunch of stuff in the back. So
And, you
it
know,
was still there because I think
Murphy's crate
she had
was in there.
class on Monday, and that was it.
And
Was
she
her
was going to
final?
take some finals on Monday, and she was going to be back on Tuesday.
Yeah, I believe so. So she's just gonna throw some of that stuff from her room into her car, come back.
I mean, you guys live this every day, but does like the year mark mean anything? Does it feel any different, or is it just similar to how you feel every day?
It has symbolism because it's a close of a chapter, and it means a full year.
It does.
Every holiday has been.
She's
and
been
then
gone. She's missed everybody's birthday. We've missed hers. We've missed every holiday.
Her sisters don't want to be as old as her.
No, that's something that is really hard. That, you know, Autumn said, what am I going to do when I'm older than my older sister? And I was like, what do you mean? You know, and then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, and I told Olivia, who obviously is older, so that will never happen, to Olivia. And she's like, yeah, I could see that, you know, being something for Autumn. And, you know, you just don't understand, you know, it's hard to get in everybody's head, you know, and how everybody is dealing with this, you know, as much as, you know, we still have young kids at home, Autumn and Aubrey, you know, they're still young adults, and you can't just drag them into a counseling or therapy when they're like, no, you know, and no matter how bad you think they need it or not, I mean, you can't, you know, when they're like, I'm not going. So I think we just kind of have been trying to deal with things on our own. And like I said, I don't know if we're doing good or bad, really. I mean, I'm not to say that all we do is sit around and cry. I mean, people ask me, and sometimes, and I said, well, here's the thing. I mean, if I could lay down and die, I probably would, but you can't. I mean, you physically, mentally, emotionally, you can't. You know, I probably would have tried. You've got to get up. No matter how you think, I'm never getting out of this bed ever. I'm not taking a shower. I'm going to stop eating.
I think a lot of people felt like she's felt for different reasons, right? Like what she's saying is so relatable. Like you go through something really tough and you're like, living isn't even worth it anymore. Like that's the way I think that she's felt, and she's obviously articulating that in a way that I feel like resonates with a lot of people.
You've got to, and I don't know if it's because of the other kids and the grandkids, my own will to live, my own husband, but we're human, and as a human, your instinct is to live, and that's how you got to do. I mean, whether how painful it is, or you just try to put on the happy face and be happy and not make people cry, because you don't want to be the Debbie Downer in the room either. Everybody knows wherever you go, look who just. Oh.
Is that weird?
Yeah, you're like the dark cloud.
But I mean, I wear something like this,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't expect people to not know who I am. We do interviews, we've gone publicly, so I don't want to be like, oh my, I would never tell somebody to go away or leave me alone. Or my kids have been like, Mom, that's weird. Like, I would be like, I would never do that to somebody, come up to them in public. And I'm like, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm not like everybody me, or anything like that. But I if you recognize me out in public and you come up to me and say, hey, as a mother, I don't, it helps me. It makes me feel good. It does help. As weird as it sounds, so, I mean, I don't get bothered by that, but the kids will be like, oh my gosh, well, that was just really weird. I mean, we were literally in Target and that lady just came from nowhere. And I'm just like,
Well, I think people like around the world feel like they know Kaylee, even though they didn't really know her, but they just like saw something in her personality, feel inspired by her now, which is kind of interesting that like she's so well known everywhere after she's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would.
I was waiting for people to get to know her. I knew she was going to be a world shaker. I always knew. I was like,
not like this, but
yeah, but she was such a hustler, and she got along with everyone. And I mean, even when this happened, the vice president of the company, he showed a text from her manager, and he sent to the manager, who is this Kaylee girl? I keep hearing about her. Hearing about her, and she did some work for them. So I knew she was in the right place at the right time to make things happen. So, that's why it was such a bad thing to try to get your head through and get your head around. And all these kids had so much potential, and they were doing everything the right thing. They were doing everything the way you're supposed to. Go to school.
It's just crazy how one person can come in and cause so much trauma, so much damage.
One miserable person,
goes
after all the people that are.
And then, we got to go through hoops and loops and jumps.
One miserable person created years and years and years and years of misery for dozens of other people. And I know too, one of the things that I think about in this case, and I know that you guys probably thought about it too, it's not just Kaylee that everybody feels like they know, but it's the entire Gonzalez family. We feel like we know them. They're so they're just such a relatable family. When they speak, it's almost like they're speaking what we felt about this case, even from afar. And so they've almost become like the people's champion in this case. So, Cat Joy, thank you. Patty Davila, Cheerful Giver, Amy Heights, thank you. And Cat Joy, thank you so much for that amazing super sticker. We're 10 away from our goal this hour on the super sticker train.
To get them, I guess he's convicted to get them officially. I don't know where we're
get a schedule right now is what we're really hoping for, is a schedule. We were hoping there'd be a schedule before the year.
I don't know. I just
yeah, even being in court today, like it just seems like such a slow process.
It is.
It's like they're discovering it as they go, because there's new technologies and there's new evidence, and the gathering of the evidence is a different technique than, these people read in a book. This stuff's not even in books yet.
Yeah.
So
the
So have you just kind of accepted like that it's going to be a while?
I refuse. I mean, I'm still waiting for like a Hail Mary or a miracle or something and be like, it's, you know, it's not going to, you know, I realize it's going to be 2024, but I refuse to think it's going to be pushed any further out than that. I absolutely refuse to let myself think that. But all these big delays and, you know, you get like so close, like that September date that got pushed back to October 2 days before. I took everything out of me. I was down. I mean, I was literally down. I was sick. I felt like I was going to vomit. I put so much into these court dates, as little as they are. You know, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for him to change his plea. I'm waiting for them to say, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why. I just think to myself, I like want to pray it away and pray that he makes the right decision. And he says, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. You know, I get it. Like, it's costing so much.
I hope he doesn't see this interview, because he's torturing them with the way that he's behaving, and he's going to get joy from it, and he's going to continue to torture them. Let's just call it what it is. It's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Hey, Lolly, Cat Joy, Grandmammy Annie, thank you guys for hopping aboard that super sticker train. Keeping it rolling.
I mean, the lives have already been taken, but what he's doing to the families, and I don't know what goes on, and not having control of your life is just the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I mean, for the most part, people, you know, that are in control of their lives has somewhat control. I mean, there's always something that, you know, is not in your control usually. But I mean, as parents and adults, you know, we've always been fairly in control of our own lives.
So you mean the court process feels very out of control?
It's terrible.
You got to stack up your vacation time, because the speedy trial, we weren't sure. So, you know, I stacked up my vacation.
We got close.
We thought that there was got to be a little bit of a chance. I didn't think there was, but she was hoping for it.
I was hoping. I was like, no. I think we're going to, I mean, when they scheduled those dates, I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And Shannon's like, it ain't going to happen.
Well, I was just thinking today, with everything they were talking about, how could they have ever done it? Like, there was so much.
It would have been, some would argue, benefit could have been, because those FBI agents in there working today is more evidence.
And I get that. And I have a good friend, my cousin, family member, and he tells me, you know, he knows a lot about the legal system and whatnot. And he tells me, Chrissy, it's actually a good thing, because it just gives them more time. They're not just going to sit there and do nothing. They're going to continue to investigate. Things are going to continue to fall in their laps. Tips are going to continue to come in. And I'm just like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I want to see this guy die. Like, I don't want him breathing any longer, because they say, oh, he's living in hell already. No, he's not. Not the hell that I think of. The hell that I think of is agonizing, literally terrifying, agonizing torture day in and day out. I don't care. Latah County Jail is not agonizing. That is not hell. No.
What's it like? I've wondered when I've seen you guys, like, what is it like being in the courtroom? Because I think everybody feels strange in there, because it's such a small space.
Yes,
It's so small.
it's not as big as the case. It's so puny. It's so small. It's hard to realize like something this big, and you're in this little goofy courtroom that seems like it's a prop, almost like a prop in a small movie or something.
Like it's one of those diagrams, and they're looking from out above, and you're flicking people off and driving a little car.
Yeah. So
it is. The worst part, obviously, is being in the same room with him, and to sit here and look at this. I don't know what he is. To look at this thing and know what he has done. And I mean, like I said, you could make your own details up, and like you mentioned earlier, like you usually go into court and trial, and shit starts getting dropped. And you start being like, oh, you know, I know
Yeah,
what's going to
it's not
happen.
like the
So
movies.
I cannot even imagine what we're going to hear. And I mean, that is none of what I'm looking forward to, wanting this to happen.
That's another thing why they probably really want him to trade his plea deal into pleading for guilty, so they don't have to sit there through a trial where they hear about all the nasty details of what took place. No family, no parent wants to hear that. Cat Joy, woo-wee. Biggest super sticker of the day so far right there, Cat Joy. Thank you. And Jennifer Swain, thank you for hopping aboard that train. Really appreciate that. We're 4 away from our goal this hour. I wonder who's going to help us get across that finish line.
And I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to speak. It makes me sick that he sits there in his suit.
Yeah.
And he sits there and taps his hands and you're just sitting there and he, sits there and rocks back and forth in the chair. And I'm thinking, why is he sitting in a big old judge chair? Put him in a chair, I don't know why he's sitting in such a big, comfortable chair and all dressed up in a fresh haircut. And I've looked it up, never seen another murderer or whatever he is convicted. Up to this point of a case, not in handcuffs, not in shackles, one or the other, or both, and in orange.
Yeah, she's making a great point. We've never seen it. I mean, meanwhile, look at Richard Allen, who's being tortured, starved to death, beaten, almost having to be wheelchaired in because of the way that they've treated him. And then you see Bryan Kohberger treated like a rock star. It's horrifying. Cat Joy, thank you for that double whammy. Frank, really appreciate that. Amazing super sticker. Hopefully you're doing well, Frank. Good to see you.
I don't understand why he's sitting there.
Pre-trial.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's just during with the jury there.
Yeah, because that's where they're biased. That's where they could be formed of bias.
And I'll tell you what, I do feel differently about the way there is, because I mean, there is a different light that I feel shed on me when when I walk past the TV or something and his face will be on our screen or something. And when he's wearing orange versus like the original ones where he's in orange with his hair on the back of his neck and him all cleaned up. Not that I think he's nice looking or anything by all means, but it's
one's more like a business activity versus
two different people.
Exactly.
And they're just giving, and I'm just like, okay, and they're afraid that we're gonna, we're talking or saying something and gonna ruin the case, but you guys are letting him
portray himself.
Yeah, portray himself like this upperclassman and not bring him in wearing shackles or at least a pair of shackles around his ankles, at least.
Yeah, you don't want somebody accused of killing your daughter getting preferential treatment just because the case has got more attention than normal.
Understand why. I don't understand why. Who made that call?
Do you feel like sorry, my voice is going. Do you feel like the prosecution is giving you enough information at this point?
We get no information at all.
We find it out ourselves, and then
we don't get that sounds so. Yeah, we don't get any. They don't. Yeah, we don't get any information. Like, hey, by the way, I mean, they did let us know. By the way, the FBI is going back in the house. They're going to be in the house on Tuesday and Wednesday, or whatever.
Which is good because when that happens, our phones will ring. There's going to be people who reach out and say, "What's your comment?" And there has been times where we're like, we're not even sure what you're talking about.
But no,
they've done a better job of making sure that we get
as far as things like, like during, I thought maybe like they would tell, like maybe over the summer, like, hey, we just want to let you know that we've kind of put together a little task force, and this the next 2 weeks we plan on getting out in the low mountains or whatever, and searching for the murder weapon. Or, no, we don't get or hey, we got
And I understand a lot of that.
I mean, I guess people say, that's crazy. They would never give that. I don't know, because I've never been involved in a murder before like this, obviously. So I don't know if it's crazy that we're asking for more information. I don't know, but we know just as much as always. We know just as much as the people.
See,
Yeah.
it's funny because they won't say anything, and then when they find out that we know something, then they're like, tell us about that. And I'm like, well, we could have told you about this a long time ago.
Right. If it was an open.
Yeah, if there was a dialogue here,
But
why
we
is it
never
when you
hold up
know that
anything
that we're onto something that's 100% you've already verified, then you want to cross notes? So
You know, I mean, in hindsight, I don't know who did what in the case. I don't know how much the FBI did versus ISP versus Moscow. I don't care. Kudos to all of them.
yeah,
All of them.
Great job.
The investigators, you know, our local guy, you know, awesome. Payne, look,
Brett,
I mean, great.
Darren.
You know, ISP, you know, it doesn't matter. But now that it's in court and it's not, you know, I mean, they did their work, and I'm assuming they still go out there and I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that that's all they do all day is just investigate the
well, now it's
murder.
kind of shifted to the courtroom, and then that's where it gets
and
really
that's
quiet.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they were quiet too. But they you know,
I think
they did solve it.
the problem that we get more into is like, if you're going to do something that like destroying the house, demo the house, that's something where I think the family should have been brought in and said, what is your guys' take on it? Because we all want to be one united front. Nobody wants to hurt the case at any shape. So I think there's a right time when you can say, hey, how can we make this a better transaction? The city needs to recover from this. We have business that we have to get to. Everything revolves around these schools. I get that. But when they just tell you, hey, we're going to do this, and then you say, well, we have questions and we want to know more information, and they're like, too bad. You're not going to get it, you know, and then it kind of forces you to fight, you know. So then you're like, all right, well.
And we've definitely come with plenty of questions, and some of them I'm like, we're not going to get an answer to that, you know. We expect, but then sometimes I'm like, they're not going to answer that. Like, why won't they answer that, you know? And you know, and it goes to our attorney. Everything goes through Shannon, you know, and I feel like sometimes the prosecution team worries more about the university and the university's agenda.
Well, everybody seems to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small town. The university seems to be like the big business.
Yeah.
I think it's 4,000, 5,000.
We get it.
When they're not in school, but when they are, it's like 55.
Yeah.
So it really is like a extreme.
And we understand that they just can't lose the college. You know,
we don't want that.
Just can't go away because, you know, they're putting all their time and effort and money. But I mean, but then, you know, maybe just not worry about fall recruitment for a year.
But they had the highest, biggest freshman class ever.
Did they?
Yeah. Like I was just talking to someone about this at the courthouse. That I mean, they could, you know, not ignore what happened. It almost would make more sense. I think.
It's more on the map now. I mean, there's more people. I've seen.
That's shocking that they had the highest level of recruitment. I would not have guessed that. Anybody would have guessed that University of Idaho had the biggest freshman class ever, even after this evil atrocity took place? By the way, Cat Joy, thank you for gifting those memberships. If you're a part of our Feller fam, you have a little flag next to your name. Let me know what color your flag is. It helps us know how long you've been with us. If you've been with us for more than 2 years, you have a Pray For Them flag.
A lot of people going to forget about it, regardless.
And the footage, people are like, it's beautiful there. This small little town, you see it. And there's a lot of people are like, okay, well, it is a bad thing that happened, but look how they reacted.
Yeah.
This is how you want a community to react. They are offended, they're pissed off, and they're going about doing everything in their power to make sure that these kids are, you know, they're going to get the form of justice that they deserve. Where that's not the case all across America. You know, we have pockets of areas where they have that more killings in one weekend.
Yeah.
And it's not even on TV. So I think some people look at that and they're like, you know what? Even though this tragedy happened, it wasn't a local, it was an outsider. There's not going to be outsiders that are all like that. It was just an extreme event from some misfit. and they'll probably never have an incident for decades to come.
Right.
And that's what we all hope for, you know.
But with
anywhere.
the House, you know, you guys fought really hard. I'm sure it was uncomfortable at times to have to come out and you know, speak out against the university and the prosecution.
I was like hiding under my bed the whole time.
Yeah,
him
but
and Shannon were out there, and I was like,
you were fighting it. And I could tell it was uncomfortable, but and they kept saying, you know, but we don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
And then to see the FBI there again and all the boards taken off this week.
It was really hard.
I knew in my heart what was best for those girls and Ethan. I knew what was best was to keep that around until they did more. And there'll be a point when I'll be like, you know what? Let it go. Let it go.
And our agenda of keeping it around isn't because, it's going to be so sad when it's torn down. I mean, that is going to be sad to me. And people think, how can that tear it down? And it's just like, look, my daughter lived a happy life there. Yes, she was murdered there, ultimately murdered, but that was this much time. You know, we have pictures of them in the house. When that house goes, it's going to be hard. I don't want to go in it. I've never even been to the house. I've never drove by it. I don't want to, but it's still going to be when they're like, that house is gone. It is going to be very emotional for me. But that wasn't why the emotional side of things. It was strictly like, is this good for the prosecution? Is this good for the case?
Yeah.
You know, and I like I said, we don't know any of this stuff, but reading, and they talk about how jury members walk through crime scenes and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is crazy.
And why take the chance? I mean, just why not just wait, even if it's a year or two?
Yeah. And I mean, and he said there is no evidentiary value in that house at all. He said walls and flooring and the acoustics are not the same.
If anybody
points aren't the same.
Yeah, the acoustic bothered me. And I was like, well, this guy was here 12 times that we have documented. I'm taking you for your word for what you've said. If he's there 12 times, where was he parking? And what could he see from those locations? Was he looking through windows and seeing these people? And those are all parts that would explain motivation. Was he there stalking? Was he obsessed with these individuals? So you can't tell me with the house being gone that you can give somebody the view of somebody parking right there, which is, 200 feet away. You want to look in that window and say, oh, I can totally see somebody walking through there right now. Mm-hmm. I can see it's a red shirt that they got on. Mm-hmm. They got a bandana on. Those little details of where, oh, that's why he sat there for half an hour and then drove off, So those were the things that I wasn't sure that had been captured. So now that they are, it'll be less and less.
The stuff they're doing now is the same stuff they did before, and they're just doing it again. Or
Mickey, you're making a great point. They're strong and brave for speaking up like they are right now. They are strong and brave for telling what they're feeling and thinking. And it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for everybody. They, to be able to do this is a huge challenge. And so I agree with you there. Kat Joy says, Tyler, I hope you are feeling better. I'm trying to feel better. Obviously, you can tell I sound not that good. I need to be better by Thanksgiving. You said, I love you and all the Feller fam. We love you. We're so glad that you're a part of what we are doing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are on the caboose, by the way, on our super sticker train for anybody who wants to hop aboard.
Brand new stuff. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they did before. I don't know what they're doing now. I do know that rendering. I feel like this time around they were a little careless because people did snap some photos, and I wasn't real happy. I mean, it was a photo of Maddie's room. Olivia sent it to me today, and I was like, whoa. It was a picture of Maddie's room and the walls cut out.
Yeah, and they told us about that, and that's they're trying to protect us.
We had not seen any of that, the cutout walls at all.
There's nothing as bad as what we'd seen with the mattresses and other things too. We've seen some pretty bad stuff.
I think they actually did a really good job getting the stuff out and escaping the media for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And
the police officers went in there with you all.
When they removed the kids in the first place, people always ask about that. And they'll even ask us about it and stuff. And I'm like, ew, why are you don't ask me this, and then I start thinking, I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, they Yeah, they did. That good. I'm so glad they don't have pictures of that. And I mean, they tried with the mattresses. I'm sure you saw those pictures, but they tried. You know, they were definitely like, get out of the way and let's get out of here with these. But that was, the mattress is touring me up. But
it just seems though, like, you know, I think some people were questioning, like, oh, do you just kind of sit back and stay quiet through this process, or do you kind of have to like fight for your child?
You have to.
And it seems like, you know, you still have to be their voice.
You do.
Yeah,
and this kind of shows that.
Yeah.
Well, her, Olivia, Kaylee, you guys watched all those shows of like type of, you know, tragedies that had happened, and we've always wondered like why some cases that were the most interesting didn't get any cameras, no publicity, no nothing. They just fade off, and you never know. Now we know why, and it's if you just ignore the cameras, you don't give the opportunity for the people to see the story. So we don't want that to happen to these girls, to where nobody knows what's really going on. I guess the more insight that they have, the more committed they are to make sure that they see this through. And the more people want to see it through, the more we can guarantee an outcome that is fair and justified. This is going to cost a massive amount of money to Idaho. So let it be a beaconing for everyone to see when somebody comes here and hurts our kids. We're fully committed. We're fully committed to those kids to make sure that they get the justice that they deserve.
Do you have any preference if the trial should stay in Latah County, or a lot of people think it should move? They're worried about, you know, too many people being familiar with the case.
I don't, I mean, I wanted to go to Boise just because that really puts a hardship on us, and we plan on being there. If we didn't plan on being there, I'd be like, I don't care, move it anywhere. You know, I think he's done wherever you put this. I think you can go anywhere in the United States and he'd be done. I think he's guilty, and I think
evidence is evidence, regardless of the community. That it
might be circumstantial, but when you got 30 little circumstantial points, it all.
I've never heard DNA is circumstantial ever.
Okay, well, anyways,
okay.
There's been some talk that it comes to Kootenai County, which is us, and I think that would be fantastic because we've already talked about, you know, leaving our jobs, pulling our kids out of school, you know, for the duration of the trial, renting a house down there. I mean, we have small dogs, taking the dogs, and literally, I mean, we're not going to go back and forth every day. There's no way.
I guess people don't, I never really think about that. Like what you said about having to take the vacation time and like having to really plan your whole life around all of these hearings.
Yep. I'm up to where I'm maxed. So I'm taking this vacation because I'm going to lose it. But I had to max myself up in case the speedy trial happened. So I haven't taken a vacation in 2 years.
I've already, for the year, I've already used all my sick time. I've already called in. I mean, yeah, I don't even have any sick time left. So yeah.
But
it's okay.
There's different responsibilities for us.
Yeah. Just being in your house, there's so many pictures and stuff that people send you. And like everybody supports you guys. Does that help?
Totally. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love when I'll just go into a food place here in town and somebody will tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, Steve. And a lot of people know me from football and coaching in the community. She works at a school. I work at a hospital. So everybody definitely makes you feel like you picked the right place to live.
And our page, we get so much love on our, you know, our family page. It's insane.
Worldwide.
You know? I mean, yeah. The comments, I mean, I could just read them forever and ever and ever and ever. I read them before I go to bed. I read them in the morning. When I get up, I always have a little bit of quiet time before, you know, start moving around, and I open it up and read the comments. And there is a lot of amazing people out there.
I'm going to go.
People really feel connected to you guys.
Yeah. And I feel it, that it's sincere. It's not just, you know, I mean, people tell us, they cry with us, that they share our grief, and they say, you know, I know we can never bear the burden, but we do. Like our family, has cried over this. We talk about this. We follow this. Yeah. This has affected us. You know, I mean, and not just one family. I mean, a lot of people.
Daily. There's some family.
There's always somebody. I mean, we get cards still, letters. I mean, handwritten letters from 92-year-old women. You know, I'm a grandma, I have 30 kids, and you know, and this and that, and just going on, and I'm sorry it's taken me so long to write. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are you kidding? You know, but I finally just had to do it. I just couldn't take it anymore. And just, yeah.
And it's super helpful too, because having eyes and ears all across the world, they pick up things that you would not, you know, you never see a story. We've gotten photos, videos from her friends that she grew up with that we would never have seen those photos. We've never would have got those videos. So that in itself was worth anything that we've gone through, as far as somebody leaving a jerk comment or something like that. It doesn't bother me, but knowing that I'm going to get photos that I never would have got, and see people share, you know, experiences and things that they did with our daughter. They're stories that we would have never known about. You know, you want to know everything about your daughter.
You don't know them all down in college town, who she knew. And people say, hey, I just want to let you know that one night we were at a party and I actually met Kaylee and she played beer pong with me or something, you know, and it's just like, thank you for that. You know, you could totally visualize it. You could totally picture it.
And pictures with it, you know.
Well, you mentioned like going through her phone, like there was pictures and.
Well, I was going through my messages with her on my phone.
On your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Just going through old messages.
Yeah.
We're trying to get her phone.
I can't wait to get hers one day, someday.
That's all still in evidence, obviously.
Some people got backups, but we never got one. There was more complications with Kaylee's phone. So
wonder if that means that Bryan Kohberger was communicating with Kaylee, considering the other families got their phones back, but they haven't got their phone back. And look at his look on his face. It's almost like, yeah, there was some complications. Like, that could be a tell right there. Jennifer Swain on the caboose, Cat Joy. Amy Heights, another Cat Joy, saying big hugs for everyone, including these amazing parents. These parents need some hugs. We need to pray for them. I pray for them almost every day. We need to continue to pray for them. Man alive. I think that's 5 on our caboose. We have 10 seats on our caboose, 5 more seats left if anybody wants to hop aboard.
But going through your old messages.
Yeah, I just did. I haven't gone back and read through them. And over the weekend, I started reading, scrolling through and reading some of our messages.
I could have my phone out and Caleb would just grab it and say, Dad, we're taking photos. Yeah. Any of the girls will do that.
And you'd literally be like, oh my gosh, will you stop taking photos? And like, is that all you do?
And then you just send them to their phone.
And she'd be like, you know, and I'd be like, oh my God, you know, I'd be like, stop, like, don't get away, you know, like I run
different
and
generation
hide from the camera. Yes. And I'm like, I'm so thankful. Like I yelled at her so many times, be like, put your phone away now. Don't you snap another picture.
Do you still, I think you mentioned to me, like, did you or do you still text her phone? I mean,
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. She hasn't got it turned off.
So you pay the bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we hope to get it back. We'll eventually should get it back.
Is it comforting texting her?
Yeah, it's usually when, it just sucks because you just want her to reply so bad. So bad. And I go to our last message all the time, you know, and it's just crazy to me because I remember exactly where I was, what I was doing, what we were talking about. Me and Steven were out when she sent me that picture. And I would have never known that Kaylee would be dead in 12 hours from that picture. And Maddie, never. Both of them laughing their butts off.
Yeah, most parents don't get, for better or worse, we see the very last moments all the way. It's like it was like a camera was following them around. Like
it was,
That's why I feel like so many people relate to 2 girls laughing, one waving her arm, and they're talking about boys. And they were over at a club, and there's other boys there, and they're going and getting grub food, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll share it with you." It just seemed like you're watching their lives as it was just part of your life, and then you know what it ends, you know how it ends, and you're just like, there's
to know that he knew what he had planned, his plan, he was planning it out right then and there as they were eating. He was planning on their murder right then and there. I mean, he was he was getting himself all hyped up, all dressed, packing his little bag.
And our children know
Sickening.
killing someone is just, that's God's decision. He decides when people come and go. You've got to be you got to be careful when you decide that. I know it's somebody's job, and that's a different circumstance when they go to war or they're a police officer. But as our kids, and they get mad and they say something, dirty or ugly to their siblings, we're like, no. You don't wish any of that on anyone, because that's just not acceptable. You got to apologize. I remember lining the kids up and making them apologize, and them getting so mad at me for making them do stuff. I try to embarrass them, make them do it in public, in front of people.
Make them kiss.
Yeah, make them kiss.
Kiss him on the cheek.
You got to kiss your brother. And he'd just be like,
He didn't want it either. Usually he's just like, no, like this is miserable for both of us.
Yeah,
I don't want to kiss her. I don't want her lips on me.
You guys are so inspiring as a family, and even just the two of you, your relationship, just in the world we live in, there's a lot of people, marriages don't seem like yours. And especially with everything you've been through. I mean, that's nice to see,
Well, I guarantee you could come back in 20 years and if we're not dead, we'll still be together.
Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere.
I met her in college, and same type of thing that was going on with our kids, just going through that part of their lives, and we wanted them to go through the same thing. And
he was in college, I was in high school.
Yes, it's true.
Different.
A little bit different, but we made it through that, and we know that statistically this is super hard on all the parents' relationships. So we don't avoid it. We don't talk about it. We all come together and spend time as a family, make sure that we're listening to everyone.
We actually really have not argued at all, really, about, I get a, little scared sometimes when him and Shannon start going on tyrants here and there. And I'm like, you guys are scaring me,
Yeah.
Because it's just, like you said, it's awkward and it feels very not normal. Like you're not supposed to go call out the prosecutor or call out, so, I'm like,
it's my daughter.
Yeah,
nobody tells me,
but
yeah,
I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I'll do it. Don't make me do it. I will get ugly, but I just can't.
99% of the time, it's all positive. It's just the times where you think maybe decisions being influenced by, pressures outside of what's best for the case, that you got to put your foot down and say, okay, if you don't want to share what's going on here, then we'll be forced to make a statement. We'll have to do what's best for our daughter. That we really have to take that stance.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else that can do it at the same attention level that I think we can. Nothing against a prosecutor or anything, but I just don't know if they just can't be committed like a parent. A parent is we're willing to do whatever we have to do. So
maybe they are.
Yeah.
Maybe they are.
I hope so. I would love to.
We talk
underestimate.
About that. We do too. We're like, well, we hope.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of us, at least in the media, underestimated the police during the time.
We did.
So maybe it'll be the same kind of situation.
Well, we talked with them one-on-one, and they, you looked at them and said, please just tell me that there's going to be somebody. And they stepped out of their comfort zones to comfort Christy and the families, to hey, we're on top of this. We got it. We're going to.
And they did. Know. That was the only thing that I left that day when we met with them. It was I believe it was December 13th. And
it made a big impact on you.
I'm going to ask you both. I said, who's in charge here? And they told us. And I said, I'm going to ask you about the same question. How do you feel 0 to 100% that this case will be solved? And I asked him, and he said, he looked at me and he said 100%. And then I said, your turn. And he looked at me, and the second one looked at me very intensely. The first guy did too, but that look that I got from
don't say because I won't get nobody.
I know, and I was like, and that was right around the time that they were swirling his name around. And he said, 100% this will be solved. And I was like, that's all I need to know. And I had some peace in my heart for about a minute. And then I went back to, they got nothing. But I mean, I was like, I think they got something. I'm like, no, the way both of them, the way he looked at me, I'm telling you. And then, but yeah, you lose, you lose hope.
Well, you never, I don't know if you felt like you lost it. It's just easy to fall into the negativity when, that's
putting your trust into someone else,
Yeah. That's true.
And I do regret, and I do wish I could see him again and hug him. I haven't been able to see him and hug him and tell him, you know what?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I do remember that.
That helps a
I
parent.
don't know if you
when this
remember
is all
looking at me.
over,
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
at the end of the trial, hopefully you'll have that moment.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Does that kind of stuff happen?
I think so. Yeah.
Is that
definitely?
kind of?
Yeah.
We talked about it. I told him, I said, you guys nail this, get this done. Dinner, beers on me.
Yeah.
We'll go and
Yeah, they did. He said,
we'll laugh. We'll laugh about some of the struggles and some of the the conflicts that.
And he goes, he said, I can't wait till I could tell you everything.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
He did.
And I grew up in a very competitive, does about this tall, playing sports and everything. And I always had a coach who told me, even if you thought you had the greatest game, you could get better. So I take that type of approach to this case. Even if we have the greatest day, we'll get it. But is there more? Is there more? Like seeing the FBI there today is the type of thing that makes me feel like I don't like to see it boarded up, locked up, and not know that. Well, know that I didn't see cameras filming through all the windows. Didn't see all. Now I see those things, and now I can let those things go.
Yeah.
And hopefully they are in there finding more evidence or something new. I mean, that would be amazing.
I feel like you've seen that community. We're going to the ideal guy to get on that jury is a farmer who doesn't even have cable TV.
Yeah. So
to tell him he's got to watch a 3D render, it never made me feel right. A farmer is going to be like, no, I want to see it. I want to touch it. No, you guys can show me all this computer stuff all you want, but it's not real to me. I want to look through that window. I want to hear a dog barking from inside that house. So that's why I was like, I don't know if boarding it up this quick during the middle of the winter is the ideal thing. And I think now with those guys going in there, that's exactly what makes me feel comfortable that when it does go down, then I don't look back and always think about what could have happened. Now it's done. So it's just things like that.
Do you have any questions, Lauren?
I mean, I know that and you can answer this to Bryan, but I know we've talked about that we still feel like there's so much more that we don't know that's going to come out whenever this trial starts.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of how you guys feel?
Mm-hmm.
And what does, and what is,
It's
that like?
Are you?
Yeah. No, you can just answer it. That's fine. Yeah.
I think it's scary. I'm scared.
You don't want to hear something that.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you can't. I mean, and like I said, my mind will go. Give me a little, and unfortunately, my mind will go there, and I'm scared what I will hear. I think it's going to be terrifying. I think it's going to be absolutely terrifying. And is it mentally good? Obviously it's not mentally good for me at all. Or healthy? No. And I've thought about like, maybe I shouldn't go and be there. I mean, there are days that I won't be, photos, I'm out. But I feel I have to be there for Kaylee. I feel like I have to. Like she'd be like, Mom, get up and get your butt in court now. Like, like she went through that.
At least we can be there to make sure that it.
But I think hearing the details, if they come out, or the prosecution's got to paint a picture. Even the picture that they paint, I mean, it's probably going to be fairly accurate, I would think, for the most part.
We could talk to Thompson, the prosecution, and say, hey, all you have to do is look at us and we can leave.
There's just no way that a ton of stuff is going to come out. I think a ton. And sometimes I just lay in bed and think about that.
Yeah, they're going to retrace his steps. People are going to be shocked about how sophisticated this investigation was. I think the caste system, what I've seen of that, is going to blow people away. The tilting of the phone, all that stuff now can be
Yeah.
used to give a picture that people don't realize. So I think there's some brilliant people working on this case, and they're going to lay out a full picture of things that lay out to a point where you're going to walk through this and you're going to relive it. And that will, I think it'll be pretty clear by the end of the case, the verdict.
I think the details are going to be what led up to it, or, you know, when he got eyes on him, or one of them, both of them, someone, how he picked that. I mean, I think it's just going to be very haunting, very just a nightmare.
Yeah,
just an average
the
person's.
motive, I think, because we don't really have that
Yeah.
yet, so that will all be.
And I think his motive, which is weird, I think his motive was he wanted to do it. He
wanted
wanted to murder.
Yeah. Well, he did want
I
to
know
be.
that's, you know, like, but why did he want to murder? Well, he wanted murder because he wanted to see what it felt like, because he's a weirdo. I don't know. Just.
Well, he wanted to be a police officer, and he probably.
Well, I don't think most police officers want to murder people.
No, but he
and
wanted.
Especially that way.
It was
I mean,
part of his fantasy was to be in that situation of control. So,
but yeah, I mean, some of the details I look forward to, because it would be nice to put it to rest, but I don't know if I would put it to rest, that your brain ponders it. How did they cross paths? How? I want answers. I want to know. You know, why can't you just tell us that? I mean, I get it, but I mean, it's just there's a question, you know, and
just how he was able to do that so quickly.
Yeah.
In the house.
Yeah.
You know, it's so brutal.
Yeah. I mean, what, 15 minutes? 404 to 417 or something? And people say, "Oh, it's not possible. It's not possible." Yeah, it is. He was on a mission.
I think they'll redo those
on
steps.
A mission. He went boom, 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 straight upstairs.
Yeah, and adrenaline, and you know.
And it's both victims are right next to each other.
Sit for 14 minutes. Just sit. Put your clock on. Me and Olivia have done that before. And we're like, just sit.
I think
back.
so
We're
too,
just gonna
Cat Joy.
sit here. And I mean, you know, we're like, how long has it been? And she was like, 7 minutes. I'm like, okay. 11 minutes. Like, that's a long time. You know, so you think it is, you know, people are like, no way, you know, yeah, way, you know, I'm not thinking anybody new will be introduced to the case in that way, like an accomplice or anything like that. You can't get somebody to get on that MO with you. No way. No way. I mean, Bonnie and Clyde, okay, that was a little different, you know, but yeah, you're not getting, somebody's not getting on that crazy train with you. You're going to say, you're crazy. You are crazy.
Yeah, that would have come out by now, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mistrust between the two. I mean,
and
you're going to throw this person under the bus the first statement you say.
And I don't worry about him, but my mind also thinks too that one day he's just going to say, we're backed in the corner. All of our emotions have been heard. We're done. I'm looking like a straight up fool right now because, you know, we got nothing. He can't even come up with an alibi. Let's talk about that for a minute. What happened with that? It was due.
Yeah,
it was
Idaho
due,
law
it was
says
due,
you
it was
have
due.
to give your alibi.
It was extended. It was extended.
Or
It was extended.
they explained to us, or you can't use one. So that would mean he couldn't say.
So right there. And then I was driving around. Yep, that was my white car that drove. Yep, that was me. But I didn't go in and kill those kids. Yep, that's
You can't come up with an alibi in the courtroom. He just has to say.
Don't know how my sheath got there. I mean,
if he pled guilty and said, I'll plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence, have you thought about that?
Yeah, I don't want that because I do know I studied the criminal system and the difference between life in prison. Even if it's 20, 30 years, he's 23 hours locked up. He doesn't get to do what is it, BTK killer? PTK.
Or whatever.
We've found out that he writes papers for other prisoners and gets treated really well because he's intelligent and he's able to help other prisoners get preferential treatment through the legal system. We don't want that type of behavior to happen in our case where he has influence outside of this event. So
That's been a hard one, though. I mean,
he could write a book. He can do things. Idaho doesn't have a law particular that protects against that.
The hard thing with that question, honestly, is that's where you forget, and I don't know how it's possible, but you forget that there's 3 other families involved here. We're not the only ones. It's not just, I'm like, this is not a one,
One crime fits all.
This is
right.
This isn't just our daughter.
Right. Some
and
might
I know
not
that
want to go through the trial.
I know some of the other families definitely would be, yes, like, let's go. Where do I sign? And I understand that 100%. 100%. I understand that. But you know what? Ultimately, it's not our call. I mean, they might ask us our opinion like they did on the death penalty, and we'll give it. But just because, our opinion is yay or nay doesn't mean that, that's what we get.
And we have talked with the families to the point where we're like, let's never let this get so angry or ugly that we turn on each other and we're mad at each other. We got to respect that we're all different. I'm going to fight crazy, and you're not going to agree with the way that I do things, but my heart's in the same place that your heart's at. You just have a different way of constructing your energy, and that's fine. I'm not asking you to be me, and I hope that you can understand that I'm going to be a different individual, different parent than you are, and we can all just agree that we're going to have different takes on it. Maddie's, her mom Karen, there's certain things that she's like, I hope this isn't, changing it. We're like, no, not at all. If you want to do a certain direction or you don't want to do a certain activity,
my love for Karen and Scott will never die. Yeah. And that's a promise I make to both of our girls. Never, ever, ever. None of this legal stuff, no matter how left or right we go, or left or right she goes, or they go.
Yeah, I think people just grieve in different ways too.
Yeah, we're going to love.
And I told Karen that. I said, we can't even agree on everything. How could we, expect us agree on everything?
Because I'm right, she's wrong.
Because I think at first, with everything, the second that the girls died, it was like, what are you guys doing? We don't care. We'll do whatever you want. Whatever you guys, everything. We were like, we just kind of handed the torch back and forth. Whatever, we'll do whatever you guys are doing, whatever you guys are doing, and and then
it's a year later now.
Things are definitely not complicated by any means.
We still have dinners and things.
Yeah. I mean, but obviously bigger questions come up and beliefs and things like that. So things do come up, and and that's fine. It's fine, but I don't know.
We promised to have a vacation all together when this is done with, because I tell her when this is done, I'll never talk to another TV station. I'll never do another. I will disappear, and I will be glad then when nobody recognizes and I don't have to do it. I can deal with it here in this, but I already told you one of the places that I'm going, and I hope to just find a place to just be a part of the community and just kind of disappear and just go fishing and hang out and be around.
And he can go on that trip, and he's going with our son, and I think that's great for them, and I'm super glad that he just is off my butt trying to make me go, because I think that I'd have a panic attack if I would go that far away. I'd be like, like I would lose.
We went to Priest Lake, and she was having a hard time. And that's just
I get a little
couple
panicky,
hours.
and it's terrible. I've never been that way. People that say, I have panic attacks or anxiety things. Oh my God, stop. Like, get a hold of yourself.
My kids make you panic.
Anxiety attacks. It's real. It is real. I mean, I've had a few. Yep.
She'll just wake up and she's like, I'm having one. And I'm
I've had 3. And I literally wake up like just panic. I can't breathe. I'm like, I'm literally shaking uncontrollably. I'm trying to but I learned the first 2 were bad. He almost took me to the hospital. We were up in Priest Lake, and he was like, Christy, you need to get a hold of yourself. Breathing is the trick.
How many people in the chat, you've had a panic attack? Let me know.
Just trying to control that breathing, and
the crazy thing is she doesn't have anything on her mind. Right. So if I came up and I had some vivid dream, then I'd be like, okay, I could, but she's just like, I'm like, what's going on? What are you thinking? She's like, nothing. And I'm like, well, clearly something's going on, but
maybe you just bottled it up and
it just expresses.
I don't know.
She's cuckoo.
I do have some really terrible dreams, and that yeah, that sucks. And they're always about Kaylee. Always.
Not always. You had one about Autumn this morning.
Well, that she was saying, it's cold, let me in the house. That was a little creepy. That was about Autumn this morning at my back door.
It's winter.
Well, it
winter.
seems like it would be hard to really try to figure out how to move on with your life when the trial is.
You can't.
I mean, how are you supposed
That's
to?
what I said. That's
You
what I
can't.
said to him. I'm like, I cannot move on right now. I cannot go on vacation. Don't take me too far away from my house. I mean, I'm glad that I don't work far.
Your whole life's pending, and you're hoping for a schedule. You're hoping for dates.
Those
That's why
dates.
our legal counsel is so like adamant on like, let's get some dates. He knows the families want their lives back. They need to have dates set in court, even if it gets postponed. We understand that, but knowing that these dates are laid out and they're not just like, today was a good example. It came out of nowhere. And then it basically ended with, we'll look at it. We're not exactly sure what we're looking at. Do we look at it all at once or do we look at it separately? It's a lot of discovery right now. And we were hoping discovery would be over a year later. But we're not complaining that.
The Zoom today, I knew we were going to get a date, a scheduling date for this FBI stuff, but I was definitely like December 1st. What is it? Is it December 1st or 2nd? I mean, I was literally like, oh my gosh, I just like lost it. I just was like, I just cannot believe and everybody was just like, Christy, it's better than yesterday. Yesterday you guys had nothing because yesterday we got the court date. So on Friday we were like, so what's next?
Right.
Like nothing. We hear nothing, and then all of a sudden they dropped the bomb yesterday that court tomorrow or something like that. And we're like, oh, yay,
It's very.
And then
it's like a roller coaster.
So I'm like, and I'm like, you're right. It is a little. I mean, we're getting there.
Outside
but these
perspective.
months are torture, at least for me, because I mean, I feel like part of it is I just torture myself with them, and I'm just like, I get that date in my head, and I'm like, December 1st. I just try to get through the weeks. I'm like, just get through the weeks,
And I get active. I get involved. I know that I can find
and I just
more
want to pull the covers up over my head and just be like, just leave me alone. Where are my dogs?
I feel so bad for them. I understand it though. By the way, Cat Joy, thank you for that double whammy. And Joanne Klein says, keep up the great programming. Hey, I'm trying. I'm over here trying. Thank you so much for your tremendous support. And Cat Joy for that double whammy. Amy Heights, thank you. The Exception says, sending love to my fellow fam. Hey, thank you. We receive it and we return it back to you. Thank you. I agree, Catherine Goodman. A court date needs to be set. Make no mistake about it. A court date needs to be set. Yeah, agree.
I know you mentioned that that you guys wanted to get like her phone back. Is there anything else that like you guys are like, oh my gosh, I would love to have this?
We asked for a list of the things that they had to take. Because we know of some things like a laptop, an Apple laptop, and a couple of things. We couldn't even get them to give a list. So
of things that they had. And maybe it sounds stupid, but I don't really know why Kaylee's phone is evidence. Like, what is on? So it makes me think, what is on it?
Yeah, that makes you go cuckoo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, okay, what is on it?
Her speaker, it's kind of unusual item not to give back. The laptops, multiple laptops, not just one. All electronics, it seems like they've kept of hers. So, and her bake records, the amount of records on Kayla was probably, I think fairly to say, was more than the other victims. So curious where that's going to come.
If we got like her wallet. Like,
we got things from her room. Her room really was a part of it.
I'm talking about like her wallet with her ID in it and her debit card. And
yeah, we have those items.
We have her ID.
And she had so many IDs. It's hard to. She had a lot of college IDs, a lot of high school IDs. So I don't know if I actually
We all had a lot
see-
of IPs.
I actually haven't gone through. My thing is because I'm very good about like just pretending like things didn't happen and like put it out of my head and pretend. And that's what I do with Kaylee's stuff. Because we brought everything home. Well, we got a bunch of stuff home and I went through like 2 things and 2 boxes, and I literally couldn't go to work for like 3 days. I mean, I literally was like smelling everything and just like sitting on the floor, and my mom and his mom were like, we're going to go just get it up in Kaylee's room. Okay. So, I mean, I went to my room and I'm like, everybody just leave me alone and get away from me. And they packed it up there and put it all away. And then, I have not gone through any of it at all besides those 2 boxes. And I don't want to go through any of it. I don't know why. It just is so hard to go through that stuff. And when we went down to the house, or that little
when we picked up her
storage house
stuff,
that they had for us to go through, that was so hard to see their rooms like set up in this house and get the rest of their things. It was Kaylee's room. Kaylee was bedroom number 2. And I was like, my daughter doesn't even have a name. She's bedroom number 2. So everything marked bedroom number 2 was Kaylee. And that was hard. That was really hard. That was last summer. But I've only been up to Kaylee's room. I mean, it's right up there, right at the top of the stairs. I've only been up there twice. And neither time was for any amount of time. It was like in and out. Oops, in and out. Once was when Olivia was here, and
she's a fortress. She doesn't want the other girls to steal her clothes.
I don't want anybody going through it, her stuff at all. I'm just like, get out of there. Why are you wearing that? That's Kaylee's. That's all we have. That is it, you know. And it's just real. It's just so real sometimes, and it's just the worst that somebody could do this to somebody's family. So many families, you know.
But on the brighter side, when we do get those phones and we do get those laptops, we will have photos and memories that have been hidden from us.
Yeah, because I'm sure she has a ton of selfies.
Yeah, for sure.
And you'll just have to like. I feel like you'll know when the time is right for you, when you want to go in there.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, right now, you know, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, you got to know yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, my mother-in-law's been really working on it. She's here with us, and she's been really like working on like, you know, getting it kind of, I'm like, I just want it to be like she left it. I wish I would have saw exactly how she left it, because things have been put in there and stored in there since, or pretty much her stuff.
All boxes.
So she's she's like, I remember, you know, because she stays up there, and she was here when Kaylee passed away. And she was like, I remember, do you want me to get it? Like, I can remember. And I'm like, yes, I want to see it. So she's there, and she's like, I want you to come up and see it. And I'm just like, I've been like,
she put the TV where her TV was, and her pictures.
And I'm just like,
and it was kind of Maddie's room too, because there was always Maddie stuff over in a certain corner.
Yeah.
All the pink was in one corner, and so.
Yeah, Cheryl just. And she understands, though, you know, she's not trying to push, but she said, you know, it helps me actually. She goes, I wasn't like super reluctant about going in there, but it actually helps me, you know, to go in there, but it is hard to, it's just like the car, seeing the car. It's a constant reminder, you know. I had a blanket. I took a blanket to work with me, and it was a beautiful blanket that somebody sent to us as gifts, and it was covered in squares of Kaylee and Maddie, all the best pictures ever. All the front was when they were younger, and all the back was all college days. And I would fold it perfectly so then it looked like a movie strip thing. And I kept it on the back of my chair. And, you know, I'm getting up and 100 times a day, and it's like life size, you know. I had to take it down. After about a week, I'm like, I can't. I said, I'm going to have to put you away. I said, I just can't.
It's sad.
Love that blanket, but I'm like, it just is like, boom, you just turn around, and her and Maddie just, you know, like life size. And I'm like, I'll get you back out. But that constant, I don't need a constant reminder. I already have one, you know?
That visual on top of it.
Yeah. But yeah, and my friends were at work. We're like, well, yeah, you know, then put it away, you know, for sure. And I'm like, I think I'm going to have to, like, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I don't think you're crazy.
I don't know.
You're a mom.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I think when the time is right for you, you'll know, like, when you want to go in a room, or, you know, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, because I think Kaylee would want me to go in there and sit and go through her things and smell her stinky sweatshirts and stuff. But I don't know.
You can't rush it. Just take your time. And just always put yourself in her position. If you were gone and she
That's what everybody always tells me, and I'm like, that doesn't help me.
So she was looking at pictures of you, and it was making her upset. And she's like, "Mom, I'm gonna have to put this in the closet for a day. Would you wait?" No, you need to deal with my photo.
I would be like, Kaylee,
I'm not that bad.
You're really gonna put me in the dark closet?
Well, then you know.
But I love you.
I mean, you've got her pictures everywhere. I don't think she's
right. And the kids are already like, Mom, things are getting a little shiny around here. And I'm like, and I'm like, no, okay, like.
How many Kayleys have you done?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not. It's perfect.
I love this family.
Perfect.
So you can see there was a little bit of laughter at the end there. It's nice to see Christy and Steve smile. But just being in their home, you know, you can tell this is something that they're living every day, that their entire family is living, and that all the victims' families are living. Some are more private than others. Everybody grieves in different ways, but it's really just a difficult time. So my heart goes out to all of them, especially at the 1 year mark. In terms of the court case, there's no significant update right now. There's not another hearing scheduled. There's a deadline for the prosecution to turn over some of the investigative genetic genealogy records to the judge. That's December 1st. But beyond that, you know, there's a lot of, everybody asks me, is there a trial date? When's the trial going to be? We really don't know. And if you heard in the interview, I mean, that's something that is agonizing for the families. So hopefully that'll all be sorted out soon. But thanks for listening. I hope that hearing that full extended interview gave you a sense of what these families go through, because I know a lot of us who follow the cases, you know, we get really into all the little tidbits and following the court process, and sometimes you lose sight of just how agonizing this is for the families. And I think seeing that full unedited interview hopefully shows you the range of emotions that they're going through. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.
My gosh, that was heartbreaking. Well, folks, that's all we have time for today. I'm not feeling very well, so I need to get off and hopefully get to feeling better. Somebody said I needed hot tea and honey. I'm like, yeah, that would be great. I don't have any right now, and I don't feel like getting in my car and driving to someplace that may have it. So I'm just going to suffer without the hot tea and honey tonight. But thank you guys for being on the stream. Thank you for being so amazing. Cat Joy. Thank you, Patty Davila. Thank you so much for your support. Let me pray for you guys as we're closing out tonight. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for every single person that you've gathered on this stream. Lord, I pray that they are overwhelmed with your goodness, your mercy, and Lord, thank you for the encouragement that we're able to feel watching this family. It's amazing, Lord, that the Gonsalves family has hearts that are drawn so close to each other and really close to you, they've said, even at times. And so I just I bless them, Lord. Your word says you're close to the brokenhearted. It's clear, Lord, that there's a lot that they're still going through and processing through. Lord, I pray that there's an overwhelming peace that continues to surpass all understanding. Lord, that you'd give them the strength and the resilience that it takes to fight this battle that is certainly demonic in nature. Anytime a ruthless murder takes place like this, we know it's the devil who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And I know, God, a lot of times people try to blame you for things that the devil did. And we just know fully and squarely that this was the devil's doing. And we just pray right now in the name of Jesus that there's full vindication. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. And so we trust you with that. And we pray for this family that they would feel grace and peace in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, you guys are amazing. Thank you for being on the stream. And you know what? I cannot wait to be back with you tomorrow. And I'll see you back very, very soon.